What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Also, a special shout out to DS Flat. DS, you left a comment yesterday that I thought was just kind of good. You know, nice. He always leaves good comments, man. DS Flat, you always leave, I feel like, good comments. Educational, informative, opinionated, whatever. You know, I know not everybody reads them, but I'm looking here, you got at least 5 likes, you know, so there are some people that like what you're saying. But let's see, you were saying thank you, you know, and then you said question, like Q, as if somebody was asking this question. You said, where might investors see better gains? Holding 1 Bitcoin at 65K or holding 148 Bitcoin Cash at 440. So he's taking the comparison of Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash, how many Bitcoin Cashes you would need to equal the same amount, roughly. I'm assuming. I didn't do the math, but I'm assuming that's what he's doing. They share the same Genesis block, the same 21 million max supply, the same miners, and the same halvings. I would also go on another note before I continue with his quote to say they do share the same 21 million supply, but they also share the same amount of coins that have been lost forever due to early negligence in the technology itself. So before the halving of Bitcoin Cash, all the BTCs that got lost, the guy that's in the UK that pays, he's got the $100 million bounty or however many millions of dollars it is now for people to find his computer, his hardware, to get his Bitcoins back or whatever, you know, all those coins and more are gone still, right? Satoshi's wallet, gone from Bitcoin Cash. They're still a part of the supply, but they're gone as well. But he said the same miners and the same halvings. Bitcoin Cash is up about 300% in 1 year, which is around twice as much as BTC. And the BCH chart looks like BTC in 2016. And he gives a little face. And I'm with that, man. I'm with that. I think, and I'm going to pause the music on that note. We're going to end it there. I'm not the video, just the music. We're going to keep going for sure, do some TA. But I thought that deserved a special shout out because it does put things in perspective. You know, whether or not you agree with me and other people out there that the chart is comparable to the 2017 cycle, the 2016, 2017 cycle for Bitcoin, whether or not you agree, you can't ignore the facts that Bitcoin Cash, BCH, is absolutely demolishing. It's maybe not demolishing, but it's performing better than BTC has this cycle. It absolutely has from the lows. In fact, I did I'm going to go through here. Let's see. I can't. It's all the way. It's in like April. Let me see. I don't know. I'm not going to go through and find it, but essentially, I made a video talking about like 40 different coins, man, or more or less, somewhere around. I know it was more than 20, but it might have been less than 40. But comparing them to Bitcoin, and BCH was one of 4 coins that has performed better than BTC, right? Out of all the coins, most cryptos actually have not performed better than BTC since the bear market bottom in November of 2022. They have not performed better than BTC since that time. Most coins have not. But Bitcoin Cash, the king dragon itself, the lizard wizard of the gizzard clan, it's one of those 4 coins that actually has done better than BTC. And I think that's something that is important to note when talking about the potential for Bitcoin Cash, especially in comparison to the rest of the market. One last shout out to the Dragon Riders. One last shout out to DS. Let's get this going. Looking at the weekly here. The weekly RSI, guys, it gets me so jacked. It looks so good. It looks really, really, really good. Being jacked on the weekly does not mean that we're absolved of going lower immediately. We absolutely can and might even go lower immediately. Smooth Operator wants me to give you guys the most bearish video ever so that we can just continue to pump. So inevitably, I'm just going to leave it at that. We're probably going to go down to about 280. It makes sense, right? If you draw like a straight line here, I mean, it would come into that straight line in about July. So we're just going to drop. No, that's not how TA works, you guys. That's not how it works. If it was whatever call I made and then the price goes the opposite direction, I would definitely confidently call for prices to go to 0. But that's not how it works. And I don't know, man. There might be an argument for prices to go down there if you really wanted to make one. But looking at the weekly RSI, I think it looks pretty damn good, man. Holding above the 50 like this, getting overbought, not getting below the 50. Even if you got below the 50, you're in a position where you could bounce off the 40 area, which is insanely bullish itself. I just don't believe we're going to go down to the 40, because if we were to go to the 40, we'd probably break like $350, $300, something like that. I don't think that we're going to go that low. I do still accept the possibility that this is not the low and that we could go lower, but at this point in time, I'd say the likelihood that this is the low for BCH, the relative low, I would say it's greater that is the truth than it is not the truth. With last week's close, we had a very, 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 very bullish engulfing candle. Beautiful, just amazing. Not a lot of volume, which it's okay. You don't need a lot of volume necessarily at this point in time. Relatively speaking, I suppose it's nicer to have volume. Like, let's see if we go to the 4 hour. Yeah, looking at that in comparison to all this boringness as we're moving up, we did have increased volume. So volume is building a little bit, relatively speaking, as we're moving up. We don't really need to see more volume come in on the weekly until we're like getting toward these highs or breaking away from them, actually. So bouncing off the 50 area, I think, is a really nice look. We've done this a handful of times. I keep referencing it. If we take the relative low here to the relative high, we tipped the 786, wrestled around with the golden ratio, didn't really show any respect, which is uncommon for BCH, but hey, it happens. It does happen. And the reaction that we're getting right now, in my opinion, calls for a movement up to about 545 and beyond. Now, the question at hand, in my opinion, is, are we done moving lower? And if so, when are we going to start moving higher than this high? And I suppose I already answered that. I do believe that we are done moving lower, but not completely convinced yet. Not until we break above 500. When we break above 500, when we close above there, I will be very convinced. I'd say 70% or more likelihood of a chance that is the low. However, if we reject this area, and especially if we get back below that 618, I would say the likelihood that we go lower than this price would come back on the table. Now, I'm not expecting that to happen, but that's just something that we should be aware of. Going below there is okay, but closing below there is not what we want to see. We want to stay above this 618. That's what we want to do. We want this RSI on the daily to be productive as it is. If we were to reject here, we'd be rejecting the 60 zone as well, which isn't a good look, but we could hold support on the 50. We could hold support on the 40. There are bullish prospects, even if we are immediately bearish. So I think I want to look at the 4 hour to just kind of see how this looks. Yes, we do have bearish divergence, but you guys, this 4 hour is so bullish. Like, yes, there's a high and a lower high here. Yes, there's a high and a higher high here. That's bearish divergence, but it's already played out. It's already played out. We are maintaining readings above the 60 time and time again. Right, you got a little bit out of it this time, and you're already reaching back for it. We still have an hour and 36 minutes left, so let's see how it goes. I might be preemptive in assuming that, but I think this 4 hour looks bullish as hell, man. It could go lower, and it still looks really good. So, yes, we were moving up a little bit as volume's dying off, but then I don't know, volume. I think it's fine. I think it honestly looks fine. I don't know. Let's see. I know that upsets one of you. One of you out there was saying that you don't like it that I'm saying maybe, I don't know, it's possible to all these directions. Well, I got to tell you guys something. I'm going to try to say it in the least crass way possible. This is technical analysis. I'm not rubbing a crystal ball. I don't know your future. I'm not psychic, right? I don't have inside information. This is technical analysis. We deal with probabilities and possibilities. We take statistical likelihoods. That's what technical analysts do. And we address them. And the likelihood that we're going to go up is greater than the likelihood of us going down, but there is still a chance that we could go down. That's why I think it's important. I don't care who you are, and I actually went on a little tangent in one of my other videos about the same topic. I don't care who you are. If you want me to just say, oh, the price is going here, you want me to be decisive, it's just going to go up, and never address the possibility of it going down, we don't know. I could say confidently I know the price is going to do this. And then the price does that exact same thing. I didn't know that. I got lucky, right? With a bit of skill, depending on your level of TA, but even if you have the best TA and all the things in technical analysis that you use are suggesting this, you could see this and still be wrong, because there's always that chance. It is not a 100% guaranteed thing. So if it offends you, if it's hard for your ears, if it's confusing for you to understand why I address the multiple possibilities, I don't know what to tell you. I can say I'm sorry for you, I suppose. I'm not sorry that I do it, but I'm sorry that it's upsetting to you or that it's confusing to you. I think that it's essential. Any good trader and investor should be aware and contemplate the possibilities of if they're wrong and what that would look like. Have a game plan for that. I think that's essential. So I'm going to stop talking about that, but that one comment just stood out to me. There were a couple comments actually that were I would say more snide than that, but it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm focusing pretty well. But anyways, I think addressing both sides requires focus. Anyways, we're at 486. Not much has changed, right? We're still waiting. We're still at this point, and that's where I think it can be extra kind of confusing for some people, is when I am at this point. Normally in every single video, even if I talk about the downside and the upside, I always tell you which one I'm in favor of, which one I'm thinking more of. And I thought I made that clear in last video, but I'll make it clear here. I am in favor of the upside. Right now, I would say I'm like 60% on the bullish case that this is the low, and I'm about 40% on the case that it's not the low, right? So it's still a decent chance that we could go lower, but that can change very, very quickly. All we would need to see is a close above this 382. Is this? Oh, I was like, that's not right. There we go. There at $500. If we close above that, and I think we will, I think we've got a chance to. We're just also in this area in the RSI where we could. It wouldn't be crazy to reject here. You know, it really wouldn't be. It happens all the time. And with that rejection, that doesn't condemn us. We could bounce off the 50. We could bounce off the 40. That's still higher lows. It doesn't condemn us, but it might condemn us to lower prices for now. Rejecting this 382 area, which we're at, if we were to reject it, it's not uncommon either. We could go down to 460 and then inevitably close above 500. So me saying that I think we're going to close above 500, that comes from the fact that even if we go down from here, I still think the odds are in our favor. I still think that we're in good shape personally. But it would be nice, it would be really nice to just see us continue up to 500. But again, just be aware, guys. If we move down to, what is that, about 460, 450, even a little bit lower than that, we're still okay. I would just prefer that we don't close prices below 460. If we can stay on a daily closing rate above 460, I think that would look really good. But closing above 500 would be awesome. I don't know what other word to use. It would be better. It would convince me more that that is the low, and therefore get us set up for more bullish price action in the more immediate terms. Let me see here. Again, a rejection isn't condemning, but getting above it, that would be relieving, right? I'd say 70+% chance that is the low if that happens. If that is the low, hold your horses, hold your dragons, right? By the reins, you guys, hold them. Don't let them go, because we've done this before, right? Where from the high to the low, it took us 7 weeks to get there. From the high to the low, it took us, this time, only 4 weeks to get there. But 7 weeks versus 35 weeks to break out, 735. So that's what? That's a 5x in length of time. That would kind of translate actually to a 20-week amount of time to consolidate. We could consolidate literally until August, and it would be a shorter phase of consolidation than the last phase that we had, and we'd still be in good shape to make incredible gains by the end of the year and be above $1,000, which I do very much believe Bitcoin Cash will be above $1,000 by the end of the year. I think it has a chance of even being above $3,000 by the end of the year. It's worth $458 right now. You heard me correctly, $3,000 by the end of the year. I want to go over why I'm kind of... Oh, I'm on Binance. I don't want to be on Binance. Oh, I did that because I was looking at the volume earlier. That's right. High to low. I like Coinbase because it has all the historical data. That's why, right? You can see all this. It wasn't on there on Binance, but 3,650 is our immediate 1272 from our relative cycle high to low, right? And if we roughly, this isn't the best way to estimate things, right? Don't weigh into this too much. But if we kind of roughly draw our trajectory, that's not the best look at all, actually. Let's see, something like that. I don't know. And just try to keep that line straight. Like if we're on this trajectory here, by the end of the year, that could take us up. That'd be like $1,400 right there. And if we gain a steeper slope, I feel like this might have actually faded away a little bit. Maybe it's supposed to be more like this. I don't know, man. This is what I mean by it's really speculative. It's not the best way to go about it, but I feel like based on this trajectory, maybe we can do this. Let's do this. Low to low here. High, yeah, high to high. Nope. Let's do high to high there and do this high actually. High to high there. Given this current path that we're on, by the end of this year, you know, seeing a minimum price of like $900, which I would think would be above 900, but up to like $1,700 just within this current trajectory that we're on, I think it's very safe to assume, you know. But it also wouldn't be crazy, even though we're sloped upwards right now, it wouldn't be crazy to break out to the upside. These kind of upward trajectories do break out, especially in parabolic behaviors or just like very bullish charts themselves, you know. And I think, I don't know if Bitcoin Cash is in a parabolic kind of shape right now. It might be, but I do think it's being very bullish. I think it's got a lot going for it. So I don't know, man. I'm getting all lost in the translations. What I'm really trying to say is I think that a price around this high, if not above it, by the end of this year, I want to say it's possible, but I also want to say it's likely. I don't know what word to use. I feel like possible degrades it where likely is more suitable. I think it's likely, man. Now, the thing is, by the end of the year is what I'm saying. There's a reason why I'm focusing on this exact idea, is by the end of the year. Well, if the end of the year is right here, that's the end of the year, right? That's the beginning of next year. Right there. That's actually the first week. Let's go technically there. Okay, that's the end of the year right there. On a weekly basis. If we were to break our highs right now, we'd probably go all the way up to here, about $1,100. I mean, that'd be cool and all. It'd break that upward trajectory that we have on this next move, which I don't anticipate happening, but it can happen at any point in time. But like, what would we? I mean, like, what would we do? Like, I don't know, man. It seems too bullish, but when I'm drawing it out, I'm like, I don't know. This thing could actually that could actually happen that way. I don't know. I don't know, man. Let me do it in a different kind of way. Let's see here. We'll draw some lines. Low to high to kind of show the length of that move, right? So if we were to, from our low to high there, move up there in roughly that same amount of time, I mean, it'd be sometime in June that we'd be at our last cycle highs, right? Which would then imply that if we saw another move like that by the end of the year, we'd be well above 3 to 5K, right? And if I'm calling for a 20K price, 20 to 30K price, really around like 23K is what I'm thinking. I mean, that would just be too insane. Like, what are we going to do for the rest of the cycle? Would the cycle be over very soon, very early in 2025? Like, that would be the only kind of logic that would conclude me to believe, or allow me to believe, I should say, that we would see these kind of prices by the end of the year. But if we take that move there, I don't know. It's just rough analysis, man. It's not really an exact science with this here, but same kind of idea here from the breakout point to the high. If we took it there, I mean, that'd put us at about 1,100. If we did that in that same amount of time, because when Bitcoin Cash moves, it likes to do it fast, right? And you can see I drew from the low to the high there, so that is like essentially how long it took. If we took it from this low to high, I mean, that would be sometime in June as well. June, we still have a whole half a year left to make another move. What if we made another move that's that same length? You know, we'd go up to about $3,600. I could see that happening. I could see 2 more moves like this being done in the year, but if we throw in the idea of consolidating, right? And 20 weeks, by the way, is roughly the exact, it's not the same amount of time as this whole phase of consolidation, but in proportion to where you found your high to where you found your low. 7 weeks versus 35 weeks is when you broke out, right? 7 weeks, 35 weeks. 7 times 5 is 35, so that's 20%, right? So if we took this high here to the current low, 20% is at 4 weeks, or that would be 20% of the total range. So you would go all the way to 20, because 5 times 4 is 20. That'd put us in August. If we were consolidating and not breaking out above this high until August, is what I'm getting at, that wouldn't leave much time left in the year to see prices all the way up at $3,600. So I do think there are ways. I think that it is possible even to be above this line by the end of this year. However, I don't think it's likely. I do think it's likely, and we have a solid chance of being above this line here by the end of the year. It really is all dependent on how long we consolidate for. And I want to be clear that if we consolidate, guys, until August, Bitcoin Cash is fine. It's totally fine. This thing moves up fast when it wants to move up, right? All of us, all the people that were like sad and in despair and looking for other coins to invest in down here, they might have sold their Bitcoin Cash at various points here and put them into other coins that were already pumping. And now Bitcoin Cash is pumping and their coins are doing this where they're coming down or consolidating. Things take their turns, okay? They take their turns. So if the coming months are boring for Bitcoin Cash, don't let that scare you, right? And I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if we were boring for months, right? We might move up. We might move all the way back up to $700 or $600 or somewhere in there, and then move down. Bitcoin Cash is anything but dependable and just moving in a straight line, right? It likes to be volatile. It really does. Even when it's boring, more or less, it's still volatile. It's a really great coin to trade for that reason. Though I'm not advocating trading. I don't trade it myself. I actually just hold it. But, to each their own, do what you want. But it's hard to say. It's really hard to say when we're going to break out of this high. It'll be very exciting if we break it. The sooner the better, of course, but it all depends. It really does depend. And if we do, one exciting thing that I will leave you guys with before I end the video here. Did I pause the music? Okay, I don't even know if I played it, but we're going to play the music now. I did play it in the beginning, I remember. One positive kind of thought I'm going to leave you guys with is if this consolidation phase is shorter, if by some chance of fate in June or July we're up in these areas, not only could we be above 3K, above 2K by the end of this year, but that might set things in motion that generate higher all-time high prices at the end of this cycle than what I'm giving credit for. I'm calling for 23K specifically for the all-time high for this cycle. If we break out of this consolidation phase, if we move to new highs for the cycle so far, sooner than later, that would give us more time to grow inevitably. And anything can change. We could see a huge pump by October all the way up to $4,500. And then we consolidate for most of the cycle, and then we get our, who knows how it's going to look. All I'm saying is, I think, in my own kind of thought, in my own theory, the earlier that we break above this, the stronger the likelihood, the better the case that could be built for prices that are even beyond 23K. And there's already a decent, not a decent chance, but there's already a possibility, a chance, I should say. It's not that it's not decent, it's not that it is decent, but there's still a chance that we could see 53K by the end of this cycle. We really could, genuinely. I know it seems crazy. I'm not betting on it personally. I just wouldn't bet against it. I am betting on this one personally, but again, I wouldn't bet against this price. Very confident that we will at least see 13K, but enough of that, man. That's all that same stuff that we all know. We love talking about the potential high potential. What I really want to finish the video off with, besides that note of positivity with the possibility of going beyond even my expected targets at 23K for the end of the cycle, what I want to end it off with is, again, close above $500 on a day, just any day, doesn't need to be a week, but close above $500, and that would be good. That would cement, maybe not cement, but that would promote with a strong degree of certainty that this is the low. If not, if you reject here, just hold that 450 area, 460 area, hold that area. You don't want to go lower than that. And don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged if we move down. Don't be discouraged. It's totally fine. It's totally healthy. We would be kind of in trajectory with this here. We'd be finding support at a previous area of support. We'd also be at a relative fib down there at the 236. And then also we'd probably be at another relative fib, I wonder, at like the 618, the golden ratio, so there's a lot of support down in that area. Do be a bit concerned if we break below 420, I should say, actually 420 again, because then we probably would go to that 380, 360 area. But for all intents and purposes, guys, this is the second day in a row that I've made a predominantly larger, I shouldn't say that, I should say predominantly more bullish video for Bitcoin Cash than bearish. It's becoming more accepted in my psyche that this is the low. I'm not 100% convinced yet. Convince me. Even if you move down here, I'm still not convinced that we're going lower, but too much lower we can, but just convince me. I'd love to see Bitcoin Cash close a day above 500. And again, if it closes above 500, that doesn't mean we're off to the races yet. We're not going to break to $1,000 or higher just yet. We'll probably consolidate still, but that would be nice in knowing that we have our low, right? And just because we have our low doesn't mean that we can't revisit those areas again, right? Just because we have our low doesn't mean we can't get pretty close to it. And like each low that comes afterwards, it's just slightly higher. So don't be discouraged if we do, again, if we do return down a little bit, right? Anyways, that's all I got to say. If you guys liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to see more. I feel like that wasn't the best ending, but I don't know. I had fun during this video. If you did, please hit that like button. I really appreciate all of you for coming. I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Dragon Riders, we will ride soon enough. Bye-bye.